He was a bold man who first ate an oyster. Hey, it's Marco Pelosi III, and this is the Top Cosmetic Gynecologist Podcast. Those were the words of Jonathan Swift, 17th century Irishman who penned Gulliver's Travels and is widely regarded as the foremost prose satirist in the history of the English language. He also wrote this: "Vision is the art of seeing things invisible." And he also wrote this: "When a true genius appears, you can know him by this sign, that all the dunces are in a confederacy against him." Those words from over 300 years ago describe perfectly the career of this week's guest. You know his persona, and you know the public parts of his story because he's famous. But you've never heard before what you're going to hear today. Some of what we discussed may shock you, but when I asked him if we should edit anything out, he said no. It's the truth, and I stand by every word. Publish it in its entirety. So here's the complete interview, raw and unfiltered. Hey, it's Marco Pelosi III, and this is your lucky day because you are in for a special treat. If my guest today were an athlete, you would define him as a generational talent. Someone so original, so talented, and so good for such a long time that he changed the way the game is played. This guy has done it all, and he's done it in high style, and he continues to do it today. He was the first in the world to design, to market, and to teach cosmetic vaginal surgery. He was unafraid to tell women that he could improve their sex lives when nobody else was listening. He started a revolution in gynecology and plastic surgery that's made him a global celebrity. Every major player in the field of cosmetic gynecology has a photo of themselves standing next to him in their trophy room. So here he is, live from Beverly Hills, California, the one and only David Matlock, MD, MBA, the father of vaginal rejuvenation. Thanks for being here, David.
Marco, that was very, very nice. I greatly appreciate that. And what you said, though, that's the facts. But what I would like to say, too, I am very happy and very proud of you and your father for what you are doing for this female genital cosmetic surgery and cosmetic surgery for the gynecologist as a whole. And I want everyone to know and understand that you and your father, and especially your father, you guys have been there for me 100% of the way. And when it was dark times and hard times and everything, you were there for me. You showed me that you were there for me. You were there for me 100%. I had many talks with your father. He encouraged, and you guys came to the course. I remember your father said, "Baby boy, you got something here." I remember that. You always called me baby boy. So I greatly appreciate the support. I am very happy what you guys are doing for this whole industry as a whole, nationally and internationally. I'm telling you, I'm proud of you. You're doing an excellent job, It may be a point where I am curtailing certain things because of other things that we will get into, but you guys are doing a fantastic job. I'm very proud of you. I always like to hear and see what you guys are doing. And as a businessman, what I think one day, like this aesthetic show and whatever, you guys may one day build this thing just like CNN. You're building it. It's just like CNN. I see you guys grow. You're growing very, very well, very fast. You're national, international. So very proud of you guys. One day, I mean, hey, I say to these guys, hey, okay, we're going to step out or whatever and so forth. But I see your exit strategy. You may not see it, but I see it.
Well, thank you, David. It means a lot coming from you. And every word I said was from the heart. I really mean it. Now, I've been chasing you down to do this thing for a while. And I just saw that you just had a birthday. So happy birthday.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I don't go into my age. I think age is just a figment of our imagination. You're as young as you want to be in your mind, okay, in your mind. So honestly now, I don't look at birthdays. I don't count birthdays. I just move and move forward. I take care of myself, take care of my health, eat well, no red meat, no pork, over 33 years, high protein, low carb, low fat diet. I exercise about 5 times a week. I developed out, we'll talk about that. I developed out my own high intensity interval weight training program and so forth. I teach people how to knock that out and how to be safe. So we give this to the patients and so forth, but we'll get into that. We'll talk about that.
Sure. I was going to ask you all about that because I have photographs of you from different points in time since we've met each other in the 90s, and it's the same guy. He doesn't age.
Right.
So I thought you were maybe a vampire or something.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I have patients who come in and say, Doctor, you did my liposuction 20 years ago. You look the same. What do you do? I said, well, now, if I tell you what I do, then you wouldn't be here. So I can't do that. Okay. Some patients will come in same thing, same situation, same scenario. Doctor, you look the same. You haven't aged. Okay. So what do you do? And I say, I'm a vampire. It's all doctor. So that's what I say now. I'm a vampire. So people ask their age. I don't divulge the age. Just like women, they don't divulge the age. I don't divulge the age. So I get a kick out of that. But I get that a lot. But I get a kick out of it.
Now, when I first met you, I had heard about you. My father and I were flying from New Jersey up to Boston, Massachusetts to give a conference in Cambridge. And my father picked up a magazine and he's reading this article about this guy who's doing these laser procedures. This was like 2000 or 1999. It was way back.
Yeah, right.
And so I read it, and then we get to the conference, and friends of ours were there that you work with right now. John Miklos was there when he was with Niraj Kohli. They were just out of training. And so we showed him the article. And then we sit down in a pub after the first day of the conference, and we're looking at each other, having a beer, and we ask each other, what do you think of this guy in Beverly Hills doing these procedures? And we looked at each other. We looked, you know what? I don't know what he's doing, but we got to check this out. And that's how it started, just curiosity as to what was going on. But one thing I've noticed throughout the years, you are consistent. You have never veered from your mission. You've been focused and just perfecting your craft over and over and just spreading this thing everywhere.
Yeah. And I remember that vividly. And John Miklos came out, he came out, he went through the course. Robert came out, but John came out first. And the thing is that some people you just click with, with you, your father, John, we just clicked. I remember after the course, we would go out, although on those courses, I would train up to 10 doctors. We only train gynecologists, plastic surgeons, and urologists. And to date, I trained over 435 surgeons, gynecologists, plastic surgeons, urologists in over 46 countries. So there's certain people and certain guys in that whole, class, that whole curriculum there that I remember and have a certain affinity for. You guys are one, you and your father, Miklos more, and other guys around the world. So John, from what I remember, I think your father came, and when he came, he said, Miklos said, he's got something here. You need to go see it. And that's how all this started. So I'm very lucky to have people. And John and Robert fiercely defended me. You guys fiercely defended me, and I think sometimes I think of what I did in this whole thing. If you ask, how did it start? How did it start? Well, I started liposuction in 1987. Some say it's been in the country was at that point about maybe 1983 or so, but I started it then. And so then I concerned myself on, with form, function, and appearance. And so what I did actually, I applied these aesthetic principles to my vaginal surgery. Okay, vaginal surgery. So that's what I did. So what happened one day, a woman came in and said, "Doctor, I have had 4 children. I have some stress incontinence. What are we going to do?" I said, "Well, we're going to do my laser vaginal rejuvenation." Okay. So I did the procedure, concerned myself with form, function, and appearance. I did the procedure. After 6 weeks, after resuming normal sexual activity, the patient came back. She said, "Doctor, guess what?" I said, "What?" She said, "Sex is great now." I said, "Oh, okay, fine." I filed it away in the back of my head. And then shortly after that, her husband called. He said, "Doctor, guess what?" I said, "What?" "Sex is great now." He said, "It's like having the same wife but a new woman." This is exactly what he said. And I said, "Oh, okay." I kind of filed it away in the back of my head. Then they sent me flowers. And then from that, other women started calling. "I want this laser vaginal rejuvenation for the enhancement of sexual gratification." So much of that happened. So I said, well, wait a minute. There's a need here. There's a need here. Okay. And so it went on and on from that. And then what happened, from that, I just kind of placed this ad in a weekly magazine, and it said laser vaginal rejuvenation for the enhancement of sexual gratification. Then what happened from there, all the media started coming. I've been on the Harper's Bazaar, Cosmopolitan, Vogue, all the stuff, national, international television shows and so forth and everything and all that. So what I really realized, I said, you know what? Sex sells. And I understood very quickly that as far as the media, I needed them and they needed me. And we had a symbiotic relationship. And then I said, you know what? To grow this nationally and internationally, I can use the media. We have a symbiotic relationship. Now, I have done so many of these, and everybody was calling for these interviews. I did so many of them, I could do it in my sleep. And what I found, too, that a lot of them were asking the same thing. I could do it in my sleep. But as a businessman, I saw an opportunity, and the way that this would get out and grow would be via the use of the media. So then what I would do, I would be very media friendly, extremely media friendly. They would call. The office would automatically put me on with them. We told them we were media friendly. We told them you're welcome into the office. You're welcome into the operating room. I own my own surgical center. You can come in, you can film, and so forth. We have patients who are interested in having other patients understand and know these procedures. So I always had in the back of my mind, well, let's go ahead and let's push this out. You're going to get repercussions from it, but at least you can grow it. It's something that's important. It's something that's real, because we as doctors, we know, and what would go on and what women would complain about. I go in and I tell my OBGYN doctor that, I have some stress and incontinence. Sex has changed as a result of having 4 children. So what does the OBGYN doctor say? Just go do Kegels. Now, wait a minute. I can flex my muscles day in and day out. It's not going to grow or hypertrophy the muscle. It's not going to. And when we look at this on Kegels, they're just for a select few patients with some stress incontinence, and you read it, and I think it just helps 10%. It's not going to do anything for the pelvic muscles or support or whatever, So that's the mindset of the gynecologist. I wanted to change the mindset. I want to concern myself with form, function, and appearance, and to restore. If a woman came in and said, they would say, I want to be like 16 again, 18 again, or as if I never had children. So I wanted to accomplish that for the woman. I wanted to say, and they said, you're different. I told my gynecologist, he said, don't worry about it. It's a normal part of aging, normal part of having children. So my whole mission was to empower women with knowledge, choice, and alternatives. That's what I wanted to do. That's what we were about. So I knew I'm going to take flack for the whole science. But what I knew, the science will catch up. The science will catch up. And that's exactly what happened.
It sure did. Now, you had your own surgery center, so I guess being in your own space made it easier to evolve this thing. But at what point in time did you start your practice in your own surgical center? Were you in a different practice in a hospital or somewhere else beforehand?
Well, I always pretty well came out being entrepreneurial. Okay. So I had met some guys in my residency training. Okay. And they had a big, huge clinic. All right. Seeing 200, 250 patients a day, multi-specialty clinic. They wanted me to come in and run obstetrics and gynecology. But you know what? I was a little unsure then. So I went to a managed care here in California. And for the first 6 months, I worked at a managed care facility. But what I did, I told my friends who owned the multi-specialty clinic that I would give them 24/7 coverage. So what I did, I got 3 other OBGYN doctors that we graduated together. They were in private practice. So during the day, they would cover, and during the evening, I would cover. So we were able to give the clinic the coverage. All right. So after the first year, and so I would pay those guys, but after the first year, within that period of time, I made $960,000. So at a point, I went to the managed care and I said, one day I went in, talked to the medical director. I said, due to unforeseen circumstances, I have to resign. And today is my last day. The guy's jaw dropped and I walked out and never turned back. And so I told my buddies, guys, I got to do this full time. And so that's what I did. So it was financially, it was just unbelievable. That's back in the day where they're paying crazy money for C-sections, vaginal deliveries, and so forth. And I was doing 40 cases between GYN and deliveries, doing 250 plus deliveries a year, just me doing that, plus maybe 15, 16 gynecologic cases, major cases and so forth, and vaginal, pelvic cases, monthly. So it was a huge load. So at a point, those owners said, hey, go out and find some other stuff. You're so successful in this. I went out and I had located 3 other clinics, to purchase. So we did that. I ran that and brought in 3 more gynecologists. So basically in 87, what had happened, there was a plastic reconstructive surgeon with all these women and all these clinics. We would refer him case of the lipo, tummy tucks, breasts, and all that. So he came to me and he said, you know what you need to do, you need to get into this liposuction. You need to do that, But then I said, you know what? I'm doing these 200 deliveries a year and all this kind of stuff and everything and all these clinics, I just don't have time. So then one day when I was in the hospital, 3 days straight, I couldn't leave. Deliveries, GYN, so forth. I couldn't leave. So I called my friend and I said, you know what? Help me to get into this. So he said, okay, fine. Here's the textbooks that I want you to read. Here's the courses that I want you to go to. You do all this, you come to me, and I will proctor you. So I did that. And then I did 6 cases. He said, you know what? You don't need me anymore. You can go do it out on your own. So the guy was smart. Being smart meaning that as a result of me doing cosmetic surgery or doing liposuction in my practice, patients would come and they think that you do everything. Oh, I want my tummy tuck. I want my breast. Well, here, I don't do that. And so here's who I'm going to refer you to. He had a tremendous amount of business from me. The guy was very smart. So I was thankful as well. I was thankful as well. So one thing in my career, one thing that I will do is I will listen. I will listen. What I wanted to do, I wanted to be a, you want me to stop and you go on?
No, go on, man. You're telling a great story, and it's all
okay.
Good stuff.
So one thing in my life that I did, I listened to people. I would always listen to anyone. I would listen. So throughout, I was very good in science and math and so forth. And so the family physician, or my father's physician, he always pushed me to go into medicine. But I wanted to be a research chemist. I wanted to be a research chemist. That's what I wanted to be. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. We have a famous chemical plant there, Monsanto. Okay. Then I had a buddy of mine who was straight medicine. And this is in high school. All right. I did great and took all the sciences and everything and math and everything, very good in that. So the doctor, my father's physician, he was a cardiologist. He invited me to the office and everything and so forth and all that. Now think back then, okay? So then I remember him even inviting me to his home. So in St. Louis, but he was in the very, very wealthy, huge mansion, the whole bit and everything. He invited me to dinner at his home. So my father dropped me off. I came up, rang the doorbell. Then the maid came. She was in his traditional black dress with the white apron. And she announced me. The doctor came to the door, had black pants on, a white shirt, and a smoking jacket, kind of maroon or a smoking jacket. So now I want you to think that he's standing there in this pose. He had the left hand down by his waist, kind of little up from the waist. Then he put the right hand over the wrist of the left hand with the right hand facing upward. I didn't know whether to give him 5 or shake his hand. I'm just happy I shook his hand. So that was the whole thing. But I listened. But ultimately, and he pushed and pushed and pushed. You're great in science and math and so forth and everything. You should go into medicine. Now, he was an African-American physician, very wealthy, affluent African-American physician. I ultimately told him, thanks very much, but I want to be a research chemist. So when I went to St. Louis University, a Jesuit school, I'm Catholic. I had a Catholic education, grade school, high school, and college and medical school. But I went there, okay? In 1/4, within the first quarter, a buddy of mine who was straight medicine, who was a junior, who came to me and we happened to meet on the street corner. And he said, David, so what are you going to do? Now he knew I wanted to be a research chemist. I said, Melvin, man, I'm going to be a research chemist. Well, why do you want to do that? I want to do research. I want to do research. He said, you know what? You're going to be on somebody's bench in the basement doing this research. It's not going to be your own. So we're talking about Monsanto. It's not going to be your own. By the time you become a PhD, you could have been an MD, and you're going to make a hell of a lot more money, and you can do any research you want. I listened to him. The next day I changed into pre-med. I mean, all I had to do was just take a biology, all the stuff that I was taking, the next day I changed. And he and I laugh about that to this day. He's a general surgeon. We laugh about it, but I listened. Then when I finished medical school, okay, I went to USC. The influence, father's physician, cardiologist, I wanted to be a cardiologist. So at USC, you're there. I mean, you're rounding. It's just ridiculous. You may have 76. It was next to Cook County. I mean, they're doing 12,000 deliveries a year, 70 deliveries a day and all this craziness. But I'm in internal medicine. So in the first quarter of my first year in my internship, I was sitting down 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that, with my chief resident. He said, so what do you want to do? I said, I'm kind of interested in surgery, and I want to be a cardiologist. He said, you better rethink this. There's no surgery in cardiology. I mean, you're going to be in somebody's cardiac cath lab and doing cardiac cath all day long. That's as close to surgery you're going to get. I mean, that, but I'm thinking cardiac cath and everything. That's it. He said, you better rethink this. I said, oh, shit. Let me sit back. Let me think of what I want to do. What I said, what I want to do is I conceivably want a confined area of medicine. So I didn't like orthopedics. I mean, that was too grunt, heavy, everything. Those guys at that time putting a leg over the shoulder and sitting the hip. And I said, man, big burly cowboys doing that stuff. I didn't want general surgery. It was too broad. I wanted a confined area of medicine that I could conceivably master. And I said, what did I really like? I said, obstetrics and gynecology. So I finished that year out, but I didn't want to go there because, listen, I would round on 26 or 30 patients. We had 1.5 million outpatient visits a year. I didn't want that. I didn't want, we had 76 interns in internal medicine. Okay. So I didn't want that, but I love the county education because you got to do everything. So then I changed and I reached out to Kingsview Medical Center. I got that. And because the first 6 months, 6 months, you have to do internal medicine. I did a year of internal medicine. So they gave me 6 months credit. All I had to do was the 6 months of obstetrics for the first year. And I completed the first year. There was 6 residents. And there they were doing 7,600 deliveries a year. Okay. And maybe 20 deliveries a day, 20, 30 at most a day, something like that. So it was manageable and it was good. So that's what I did. That's what I did. It's very, very happy that I went there, but I listened, I listened. So my thing is listen, people. Don't just cast things off. So now what I do, I listen to everything. I listen to everybody. I listen to the patients. Okay. I listen to them. And what I do, I take in what I can use and cast off the rest. That's how I function. And I listen. That's how I function. So for when the women came in and they said, I'm doing laser vaginal rejuvenation. I don't like the length of my labia minora. I don't like the length of my labia minora. What can you do? I said, oh, wow. There wasn't a textbook I can go to, an article I can go to. So I listened to what they want. I don't want my labia minora projecting beyond the labia majora. I don't want these thick, sagging labia minora. I don't want all this excess skin around the clitoris. So based upon that, I developed out the technique. Okay? I developed out the technique. So then, I don't like my labia majora. So that's how I listen. Each and every one of the procedures that I do for female genital cosmetic surgery is based upon listening to women, listening to the desires of women. That's how the entire thing, I listen. That's how I developed it all out.
I've seen people try to do labiaplasties from scratch. And there are a lot of people that never had the training, or they're gynies, they're busy, they're good at some aspects of gynecologic surgery, and they do a butcher job with the labiaplasties. But the first time I saw your operation, I said, wow, this is really well thought out. It's systematic. It's very, very detailed, but it follows a plan. So how long did it take you to develop that plan and that style of surgery? And did you start little by little and just advance little by little and pick things up from your relationship with the plastic surgeons?
No relationship with plastic surgeons. What I had to look at it. I had to study it. I had to design it. Okay. Look at it, study it, design it. And I always thought I have to teach it. I have to teach it. I want it orderly. I want it precise. You go to lens. You read these things and what they do and how it is and how precise it is and how it's laid out. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted it to be reproducible. I tell people I'm doing the exact same thing. It is a method. I developed out a method. I developed out a reproducible method, something that can travel. So now it's being done all over the world. Okay, so that's what I wanted to do. You know, I went through anatomy and so forth and everything and all this kind of stuff, but I wanted a reproducible method. I can get the same results day in and day out. And with the technique that I use, I can get the results and reproducible results and consistent results. So it was a method. It's a method. And when I teach it, hey, it's a method.
Yeah, well, it certainly stood the test of time. Now, everybody wants to know how you came up with the term vaginal rejuvenation and laser vaginal rejuvenation, because those are great words. How did you come up with that?
Oh, okay, so now here's the thing. Okay. One thing I knew and understood, now I'm thinking as a businessman, that there is a opportunity here. So now some people are ACOG or whatever back then, maybe not so much ACOG, but, well, I am monetizing this. I am developing this. I mean, yes, some people say I wouldn't teach anybody, okay, but I wanted to teach. I wanted to educate. I wanted to train. I wanted to grow it. Okay. So laser vaginal rejuvenation, designer laser vaginoplasty, LVR, DLV, those are registered trademarks. Those are registered trademarks with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. I probably have about 30 some odd registered trademarks with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. So I wanted to do that. I needed to do that to protect it. All right. Also, I initially tried to patent the technique. I tried it. I tried to do it and everything with the patent attorneys. Okay, with the patent attorneys, just couldn't get it. We just couldn't get it. Okay, so the trademarks were good enough. So now with that, what I did was develop out a course. So initially when I did it, I developed out the training course, which one day of didactics, one day of being in the operating room with me and seeing the major procedures. All right. And then one day of inanimate lab. I developed out the lab model and so forth and everything and all that. Okay. So, so I wanted to have this program that I could teach and train doctors. Now, I'll tell you what, when I started with the laser, I mean, every laser company, it was coming out of the woodwork. Use my laser, giving it to everything, the whole bit, all this kind of stuff. So, I mean, I went with one particular company. It was a diode laser. Okay. It's a 980 nanometer diode laser. But there was one guy, before this, I wanted to do it. I did one course and I said, it's not what I want. It's not what I want. Okay. Then I went and got my MBA, 98 to 2000. But in that, when I came into that, and that was at the University of California at Irvine, it was 76, I think about 76 people in the course. I think it was 43 some odd doctors, and the rest were people in healthcare climbing the corporate ladder. Okay. And so there, I went there and I wanted to do that. People tell me, David, you're a great businessman. Why do you need that? I said, I want that because I feel that I'm lacking something. I feel that I could be better. Okay. And I remember when I had my interview, and the doctorate who was interviewing me got up to leave, and I looked, and she had my essay there, and she had underlined, she had highlighted, and I looked over the table, and she had highlighted, and I said, "I seek knowledge." That's what was highlighted. I seek knowledge. I was in. I was in. So I wanted to, so that's how actually in marketing with 7 of us, 3 doctors, 4 lay people, let's say, 4 business people. And, I didn't want to be in with all doctors in my group. I said, I want to see how these business people do things. Okay. And in our marketing class, this was the subject. We got an A in it. But the program, like so many of these other things with these entrepreneurs and stuff that is developed out in their MBA programs, I developed out in the MBA program. Then I came out and I launched it.
And that's how it started.
That's how it started. And then there was another gentleman who came to me, okay, and they were in the laser business. He was a distributor. So we looked at this laser, everything. I said, yeah, I like this laser, but I've been using this diode laser. Okay. He said, let us do the program for you. So they would do the management, marketing, and everything. I would be the doctor to do the training. And so at that initial thing, and I had my intellectual property, they licensed the intellectual property. Okay. There's funds from that, funds from training, and funds from laser sales. When I initially started, people were paying, I believe, about $76,000, but the bulk of that was, a lot of it was the laser. Okay. And I would go all over the world. They would take me all over to lecture. I would go to Korea, and there's 176 doctors and everything. It was crazy. All over Europe and everything, growing this whole thing internationally. Mexico, everywhere. So but I did look at it. I did look at it as a business. I did look at it that I could grow this into a nice business.
You started a franchise model. Was that the original structure?
The original, yeah, but we dropped off on that. But because the laws in that. It was just, so we didn't look at a franchise. We just said, hey, they're trained and they're licensed to use this intellectual property. And you're not supposed to give it to anybody or anything like that. You're signing the agreement and so forth and all that. And then we gave ongoing support. You got a question or whatever, or a case, ongoing support forever.
So you came up with the terminology and the procedures right before you went to business school, but coming up with the procedures and these technologies was what prompted you to go to business school. Is that pretty much on the money?
Yeah, that's pretty much on the money, but in general, not just because of this, I wanted that knowledge. I thought I was holding myself back business-wise, and I could do much more. But a doctor, I always had a good business sense. But like I said, I remember one friend, why do you need to do that? You're already a good businessman. Surgery center, everything, the whole bit, all this kind of stuff, but I thought I was holding myself back. That's what I thought. That's why I wanted to do it. And today, other things that have come to me as a result of that, I tell you what, the business world, an MD, MBA is looked at differently. I'll tell you that straight up, is looked at differently. And the confidence that you have in what you can do and everything. Why am I all in Dubai? You know that and understand. Because it is. Because of this.
Now, when you wound up in Beverly Hills, was that an offshoot of your OBGYN clinic and your medical clinics, or was that a separate move?
Well, that came about when on the other 3 clinics, I said, you know what, man, I got enough. I'm going out on my own, just completely on my own. Okay. So then I went into Beverly Hills. I was at 450 North Bedford. That's 2 blocks west of Rodeo Drive. Okay. And then I moved. I was there about 4 years in that location and moved to the brand new building at 436 North Bedford. And I was there 5 years, 7 months. So at that point, what I wanted to do, I wanted to build out a surgery center. So there was one surgery center from big hospital, big hospitals here is St. John's and Cedars-Sinai. So, I mean, St. John's had a surgery center across from me, and they were looking to unload it. But then a doctor in my building, head neck facial plastic surgeon, did a surgery center. And then he wanted everybody to come in, and shares were $25,000 a share. Okay. And I believe he put out about 2.7 million. All right. When I always would see his wife, she would always have a mean face, mean look and everything, wouldn't talk and all that. He eventually lost it. No one bought in. I said, buddy, I'm out of here. Okay. I got my commercial real estate, broker. Hey, I want a surgery center. So what he did, now I had a surgery center on the east side, a 7,500 square foot, the whole big thing. This is what this whole group I was telling you about. Okay. So we found a place in the building where I am, 9201, Sunset Boulevard. Okay. It's one block outside of Beverly Hills. Okay. In a medical building, 9-story building. So he found the space. And the owners wanted a freestanding facility, okay, as an amenity of the building. So I said, okay. So what I remembered, man, this one doctor, Beverly Hills, would belly up, huge loan, the whole bit. He lost it. I took money from my other center. I put cash in. They gave me $500,000 in tenant improvement. I did the whole thing like that. No loans. Didn't owe anyone a penny. Everything was purchased and so forth and everything. No leases. Nothing. Done. That helps me to this day. That decision to do it. I have a 5,000 square foot, 3 operating rooms, 6-bed recovery, 3 pre-op rooms, facility, Medicare certified since 1995 and recertified every year since then. Okay. So multi-specialty. So, that's it.
Now, from the time that you started in this building, were you doing any gynecology, or were you strictly focused on aesthetic surgery?
Yeah, well, at this particular time, okay, all my stuff was outpatient. Okay, it was all outpatient. Would I do some laparoscopic procedures? Some tubals or something like that. Okay, but it quickly just changed to 100% liposuction and female genital cosmetic surgery, and that's all I did. Okay, that's all I did. I would say back in 1994, I went all cash, no insurance. I went all cash. Back then, I was a cash business, you know? So, I mean, that's what I did, and that's what helped and everything and so forth. So I think also, you know, is the fame and notoriety. I mean, look at all the media, look at the doctors that you trained, but also too, in this clique. I mean, my thing is that, do I have celebrities? Yeah, I have a lot of celebrities. But I'm in that clique. I got celebrities, Academy Award winners, Grammy winners, Emmy winners, American Music Award, on and on and on. I've treated billionaires, you know, Fortune 500 company, CEOs, so forth, foreign presidents. So if you're in this clique, you know, you're in this clique. And so one thing that I learned from the first thing that I implemented from my MBA program which finished in 2000. I came back in merit-based pay. And I got stories for you on that, but maybe won't go into. But merit-based pay, I came back and implemented that. So, and in all honesty, in those good days in that stuff, I had a administrator based upon what she produced. Okay, based upon what she had the staff produce. At a point, she was getting $7,000 a month above and beyond her salary. It was crazy. It was crazy. But what she was bringing in a month was crazy. It was crazy. But honestly, if you look at, and the other thing that we implemented, we looked at ourselves as a monopoly. Okay. And what we did, our pricing is first degree price discrimination. So what is that? So you're charging according to the ability of the patient to pay. Well, now wait a minute. Everybody can pay, but what you have to find out, what is their ability to pay? Now, what does this mean for a monopoly in doing this first degree price discrimination? Well, what that means is that you're going to maximize revenue and maximize profits. So do I have to do 40 cases a month? No. I mean, if the girls, here's what we want on a monthly basis. Okay. On a monthly basis. So if you can do it in one patient, fine. So we had goals. Everyone understood first price discrimination. So what would they do? They would say, first, they'll look at the patient. Well, where does the patient live? How's the patient dressed? What is the patient wearing? Who referred the patient? Oh, that patient who referred them? Well, how much did we charge them? Well, then we have to charge them at least the same, or we charge them more. Well, why can't you charge them more? Well, then they are more to do. Okay? You have these celebrities, I have one celebrity that, honestly, she has some Sculptra, very thin. She was up for the Academy Awards in 2018. She was up for a Golden Globe in 2018. All right? She didn't get either one, but when she performed, she looked beautiful. She, no fat, thin. She wanted a butt. I used Sculptra. She paid $125,000. Now, you say, this is crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, but that's first degree price discrimination. If I didn't do that, then that celebrity, well, wait a minute. I thought you were the best. I mean, why is it so cheap? We have to do that. We have to do that. And they know. And a lot of these celebrities are coming from celebrities. It's a tight-knit clique. And they know. Okay? And they know. And then that's what we do. Maybe I shouldn't be saying that, but that's the facts. That's what we have to do. They expect it. They expect it.
So there's a certain bar for coming into a practice like that if you're a patient, because you already know that there's a certain level below which the facility isn't going to consider your case. Is that correct?
Well, it's something that's, listen, it's something that I can command. It's something that I can command. And it's the service that we're giving. And I do a lot of redos and reconstruction and stuff like that. And these are lipo stuff, a lot of lipo stuff and everything like that. So you're just in this clique. So does that help? Yeah, it helps. Is it nice? Yeah, it's nice. I've treated some of the biggest people in the world. But it's just now, if I was in St. Louis, Missouri, no, I knew I had to get out of there. I knew it. I knew that. 1968, 69, coming to California, I said, this is where I want to be. So that wouldn't happen there. Am I in the right place? Yeah, you're in the right place. You're in the right place.
Now, you've been on Dr. 90210. Tell me a little bit about your involvement with the show and how it got started and your relationship with Dr. Ray.
Oh, okay, no. Not for Ray. Ray was using my surgery center. and Ray brought me in to Dr. 90210. Ray was using my center, and he brought me into Dr. 90210. Ray and I, good buddies, friends. He brought me in. Now, here's the thing. And I mean, I think you have to look at all this. I was a cast member. I was on for 6 years. Okay. It was the series ran for 6 years. It was syndicated in 22 different countries. Okay. 22 different countries. To know and understand the popularity of it, when I back in 2000, I think 2012 start to Dubai, I had instant name recognition. All right. I would go there and I would knock out in less than a week 20 cases. Ungodly money. Okay. But an instant name recognition. And the patients knew me. All right. So now, the power of the media, did that do something great for me? And I personally feel that I was instrumental back then, okay, in pushing this Brazilian butt augmentation, Brazilian butt lift forward in the U.S. You go back and you look at it and you think about it. You think about it and you look at it, 2009 or whatever, or something like that, or 2000, whatever it was. But go back and look at that. I was pushing. Vaser high def. Pushing that. So, yes. And then the thing is, you would have to be a Fortune 500 company to afford that. Meaning this, sometimes I was on 40 times a week. Now, you'd have to be a Fortune 500 company to have that type of, you're just talking about a minute. My segment is 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. But that stuff sometimes runs 40 times a week. So was that great? Yeah, that was great. That was great. It was great. It was great for business. It was great for, fame, notoriety, and so forth and everything and all that. Yeah, well, yeah, it was. Now, am I always interested in trying to do something else? Yeah. Every year, maybe 3 companies come to you, 3 production companies come to you, and with more than not, the stuff falls through. But I always talk to them. I'm always interested in everything like that. But it falls through.
Now, you told me that your business education is how you got involved with Dubai. Tell me about the whole Dubai story from the beginning.
Well, on Dubai, now, on Dubai, yeah, see, sometimes I may have to edit myself, sanction myself a little bit or whatever and so forth. Anyway, but on Dubai, I was approached, and again, this fame and notoriety. Okay. Now, this company, Miraz, all right, that's the ruler's commercial real estate development company. You go to Dubai, it's the ruler, Sheikh Mohammed. It's all his. It's all his. Okay. So they were doing healthcare. They had 6 projects. The first one was a diagnostic center, 176,000 square feet. A diagnostic center. All right. So they came to me to do this project. And the second project was cosmetics. Period. Okay. So they came to me. I said, okay, so what do they need? So what I did is I had another friend and business associate that we were looking to bring patients from China to my center because it was too expensive for them going to Cedar Sinai. Anyway, so that was the whole thing. That's how we hooked up. So what we did is join forces. My company, his company, okay, and join forces to work together to be able to meet the requirements of this new opportunity. So basically just think that you're starting from scratch and they need the operator. That's what they call it, the operator. Okay, we need, I said, what do we need? I said, well, look, we want plastic reconstructive surgery, neck facial plastic surgery, female genital plastic surgery, dermatology, and cosmetic dentistry. That's what the people from the Middle East come here for. So out here in Beverly Hills, there's seasons that it's filled with people from the Middle East, especially in Beverly Hills. All the hotels and everything and all that and everything. Even at that particular time, they had the hookah bars and so forth, all kinds of stuff, the teas and so everything. Okay. So I knew, and I get those patients, and I know what they want. I said, so you're the operator. What do we need? Here's what we need to do. I want to have a, Joint Commission, JCI, Joint Commission International, because I want a hospital, because I know from my experience in the region, 2012 to 2014, from Dubai to even Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for a year, okay, I know what they want. I know what they need. I know that for those clinics there in Dubai, okay, you can't give them narcotics. I would come home and tell my wife, these are the strongest people in the world. You get a tummy tuck and you get some Motrin. Okay. But with the hospital, we can give them, the Demerol and so forth and everything and all that. They stay for aftercare. All right. So I told him, here's what I need. So I dealt with the medical part. The other guys, okay, the partner, do the business plan, do the marketing plan, do the feasibility studies. Let's look at the, what we need on the plant and so forth and everything and all that. Okay. So that's how we came together to do it. Okay. I have a Medicare certified center. Hey, fine. Here, we need the procedures and policies. Okay, fine. Let's change the name, give it to them, the whole bit, all that. So it was a very lucrative deal starting this whole thing up. Okay. Together we were able to do everything. So do this, you get this. Do this, you get this. So you had to negotiate the contract, had to have the attorneys and so forth and everything and all that. And all that's done. Okay. Then here they are building it. Okay. So initially it was supposed to be, say, a 6-story building. You know, it's a long story. It's a long story, a free-standing building. But again, they do things in excess. So that took time because of we call the group chairman, who's just right up under the ruler, who's over all this. Okay. So what they did, I want it here. No, I want it here. I said, you know what? My guys are waiting too long. We got to go ahead and go. So he said, okay, all right, fine. Take 46,000 square feet of this new building that's not 2.5 years old. We're going to demolish this beautiful second floor and give you 46,000 square feet. We're building out a JCI facility, hospital. There's 4 ICU beds in it. There's 4 operating rooms in it. The lab is part of the other part of the clinic that we use. We have 9 recovery room beds. We have 3 extended care suites. Okay, a whole clinic side, dentistry, a little minor surgery thing on the clinic side. All right, so we had to do all that, give them all of that. They use their architects and everything. Yeah, this is what we need. Okay, so that's the whole thing. And then on the deal, it's a very nice deal. It's a very nice deal. Bottom line, we get a set amount quarterly, okay, and 36% of net profit. So we're managing that. So what happened? I have my assistant general manager there, the full team there, everything and all that while I'm here. But I'll wake up and deal with 19 emails. I'm on with them every morning. It's their evening. They're 12 hours ahead. and every evening their morning. Okay. So, and now for the company, okay, and what we named this company, Beverly Hills, my surgery center is Beverly Hills Sunset Surgery Center. The company there is Beverly Hills Sunset Surgery Center International Facilities Management Services. Have to have a company offshore. It's a full company there. Headquarters, so forth, everything, all of that. All right. Bank accounts, the whole bit, everything. Some things as a businessman, what I do, and what I would tell the listeners to do, I would say you guys are smart. You're smart. You're an MD. You're knowledgeable and smart. I would say get a business magazine, business thing, newspaper to read every day. I read the Wall Street Journal every day. I get a lot of knowledge, a lot of information, and I do a lot of things from that. From that, when Trump said multinational companies, you don't have to pay, federal tax. This whole new thing that came down. So I said, well, wait a minute. I mean, what does it take to be a multinational company? Well, you have to have a company. Do you have to have multiple countries? Then I looked it up, started researching it from an article that I saw in the Wall Street Journal. Well, you have to have your company here in the U.S. and another company in another country. And it even said, it's that much better, okay, even if you're dealing with the government. I said, well, hell, I'm dealing with the government. I have a full-blown company in another country, in the UAE, in Dubai, full-blown, bank accounts, everything, legitimate company and all that. I said, why can't I do this? Why am I not? I'm a multinational company. Why can't I get this benefit? All from an article in the Wall Street Journal, all from what Trump is saying. I went to the tax attorney. I told him, why can't I? You know what? You got a point. Let me get the international tax attorney. Brought the international tax attorney. We sat down, everything said, you're right, but here's what we have to do. Here's the company that we have to set up here. Sat the company up here, everything. Here's what you have to do over there. All this stuff. Did it, comply. I'm a multinational company. I don't have to pay federal tax.
That's great.
For the income that I repatriate. Now, I do have to pay state tax because I'm here. But I'm a multinational company. All from the Wall Street Journal. Why can't I do this? Asking questions, posing the questions, giving it to here's the people I need to talk to. Okay, he can't answer it. Here's the international attorney. It's done. I'm playing with the big boys now. Knowledge. All you guys, all these doctors are smart. Read the Wall Street Journal. Just take it and read it. There's one section, 10 point, that I read first is a summary of everything that's going on that day. Then if you want to get deeper into an article, you hit that. So I want as much as you read, there's not medical journals. I read this every single day for years. My MBA said that's what you should do. Financial Times, whatever, I read Wall Street Journal. I listen. I use it. I think about it. I ponder it. That's what I do. And all you doctors, you're smart. You are smart people. You're smart. You can pick up this stuff and learn this stuff. Hey, one thing that I recommend to some of these guys and these doctors that are in, and I have influenced quite a bit, that are in medical school, I said, hey, do that course, do that thing to get your MBA. I know people that I've influenced and hey, I'm doing my MBA. And it's a year. I just read in the Wall Street Journal now that they're talking about now, instead of the 2-year things, have 1 year. You can do it. In my program, what I did, you guys can do it. You're not too old. Especially if you talk to the younger people, you should think about it. The world looks at an MD, MBA differently. Okay? They look at it differently. But you can accumulate a lot of knowledge. So now they have 1-year programs and so forth. Tell Marco Sr. to be quiet.
That's Marco. That's Marco the Fourth in the background there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the academics. Did they ever ask you to train them?
Oh, yeah. 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 You know what? Okay. It was a female, and they pushed and pushed hard. I can't remember. With it, let's see. I want to say Harvard, but I think it was Mayo Clinic. It was Mayo Clinic. A female professor wanted to come, okay, but what she said, she will go back and train the residents, and we denied her. We said no. So it's over the years, it has been a few, but Mayo Clinic did that. But that was years back. But they did ask. And they did push.
Yeah, I remember.
But
I remember that they couldn't wrap their mind around the concept of intellectual property and paying for education, even though they're all saving up to pay their kids' college education. Right.
No, I know it. Yeah, but yeah, that was the big thing. The big hit. I said, I said, medicine is a business. Medicine is a business. Okay? But look where we are now. I mean, it's throughout the world. Look where we are now. Look at the research and everything. I said it would come. You've been a part of it. I've been a part of it. Miklos, more a very big part of it and everything. So I'm proud to see it.
Yeah.
I said it would come.
In 2007, the American College of OBGYN came out with a very negative committee opinion on everything you were doing, and it was aimed directly at you. They listed all of your procedures. They criticized your teaching model, your franchising, or whatever they thought was bad about it. They said everything was dangerous. What was it like to go through that type of an attack?
I would say, you know what? You can't let it bother you. That's what I would say. You just can't sit down and dwell on it. You just can't let it bother you. Who was right? Who came out right? Where's the research? The research is there. The research would come. I just had to stick to it. The research will come. Even Miklos said, you got to get so much under your belt before you have cases and everything to do research on. So it's so you know what? You just got to be, you just have to be, you know what? Sometimes I've said before, after all of this, it is all done up, running and everything. And years later, I said, what was I thinking? I mean, I had to be crazy to do this, with all that slack. So if I would have worried about that, I thought about it. If I worried about that when I did, I wouldn't have done it. If I worried about that. I'm glad I just kind of tuned out and I'm thinking about this is what the women want. This is what they're asking for. They're telling us the stuff that you guys are in general telling us. Don't worry about it. Forget about it. Normal part of Asian. Don't worry about it. Do Kegels. Kegels don't work, doctor. Do Kegels. Do more. It doesn't work. So that's what I'm doing. I'm listening to the women and giving them what they want. And when they say, oh, we're doing it, I said, personal choice. In fact, it's all aesthetic surgery. It's all cosmetic surgery. All cosmetic surgery is personal choice. You don't have to have a breast augmentation. You don't have to have a breast reduction. You don't have to have a tummy tuck. You don't have to have liposuction. The same with this. But that's personal choice. The same with this. So ACOG is ACOG, but, it is what it is. To me, came out right.
Did they ever reach out to find out what you were doing before they attacked you, or did they just blindside you with this thing?
Blindsided. No one said anything. No one has ever reached out to me.
Did it affect your business in any way when it came out, or not at all?
Not at all. My business, not at all.
Did you ever contemplate a legal response, or did you just say, I don't really need to get into that?
Hey, I got too much to do to deal with something like that, or to try to deal with that and to fight that and to highlight that and to legitimize it.
Sure. All right, the next event with academia in 2013, the American Board of OBGYN tried to restrict doctors on how much cosmetic surgery they could do, and they tried to prohibit them from treating men if they wanted to stay board certified. And I believe it was you by yourself that single-handedly got them to back off. I don't think a lot of people know that story, or the fact that you forced their reversal.
Correct. 100%. 100%. Now, that affected my business. So what I did, I went straight to, they sent me a letter. You know, they sent the letter to a lot of people. And let me tell you this. Okay, let me tell you this. So then I got a powerful healthcare attorney. Okay, I got a powerful healthcare attorney, and I gave this to him. And here's what I gave it to him. If you guys listen to this, I gave it to him. Okay, and what had happened? He said, "Okay, let's take it. Let me write a letter to him." And he said, okay, Dr. Matlock is going to comply with whatever what you're requesting. Okay. But in so many words, but as long as it is kind of legal, let's just say that. Okay. I don't remember specific words that. Okay. So we did that. And then I stopped doing liposuction on men. We literally took it off, everything. We literally turned people away. Okay, we did. So then what happened in the New York Times, an article came out where the obstetricians and gynecologists were doing colposcopy because they're skilled in colposcopy and doing around the anus, basically, I guess, anyway, looking at HPV and with its relation to anal cancer or whatever, all that. And they're skilled in it and they're doing it. And that came out in the New York Times. And as a result of that, the American Board. American Board, okay? ABOG said, that's okay. I took it and sent it to the attorney. So that was one point. Then let's see, something else. I don't know if it was hormones or something. So there was these kind of things that came out and that triggered this. Okay, that triggered this. But okay, go ahead and do it. So I think there was two things. So I know colposcopy, but I think I'm not sure if it's hormones or something else that they said, okay, fine, go ahead and do that. I gave that to the attorney. Okay. Then I looked at the article. Okay, the media is powerful. I looked at the article. I looked at the journalist. I called the journalist. I told the journalist what's going on. I gave the journalist, I said, wait, maybe I should sanction it. I gave the journalist the letter that ABOG sent to me. Okay. Then what the attorney was saying, well, listen, we're fighting this. He said, get together a group of OBGYN doctors who this is impacting so that we can fight this or sue. Sue. So got some guys together and everything. I said, well, how much is it going to cost? This whole defense, David, could be $300,000. Okay. So I said, then what I said, look, do this, do this. What I want you to do is get all the, and I mean, some detailed stuff. You know, you can't say they can't be board certified. I mean, it's detailed legal stuff. I said, get all the case law together. Get it all together. You write the letter. You say we have all these OBGYN doctors, and you tell them that we're going to do a class action suit. I called the New York Times. I told the journalist that, okay? We sent that. We gave the journalist direct information. We told the journalist would call them ABOG. So how it came down, it was a bluff. It was a bluff. That's how they backed off. We didn't have the resources to do it. It honestly was a bluff.
But you put the pressure on them, and then they got the message.
They got the message. Yeah. That's how it came down. Now, did the attorney come? What drove me? I gotta think. I gotta be smart. I have to look at it. I said, you know what? I can't get all the doctors together. I can't get those this $300,000 together. I mean, I don't want to be on the hook for it. How can we do it smart? How can we do it smart? I told him. Now, he was out a lot of money, obviously, because he didn't get to go. That did it. That's what did it. If anybody wants to know how it came down, that did it. Where's my thing?
Now, let's go back to your practice. You're almost as well known for body sculpting as you are for vaginal rejuvenation. What are your top procedures right now?
The top procedures right now, I would say, is Brazilian butt lift. Okay, the liposculpturing, this itsy bitsy waist, this Instagram waist. All right, the Vaser high def. Okay, now the hot new thing. Give you guys a heads up. You should get into this J-plasma Renuvion. That has gone ballistic with people requesting that. And you know what? Behind liposuction, now I'm not cheap. Behind liposuction, we're charging per area $4,000. $4,000 above and beyond Vaser assisted or Vaser high def per area. It's the hot thing. And they say it's 50 to 60% more skin tightening. Now, what's the downside? The equipment is expensive. You know, it's $128,000. But thankfully, I got a big derm guy that comes to my clinic, use my clinic, good buddies. He has two of them, one in the office, and he leaves equipment in my surgery center, so I get to use that. The hand pieces are about $350, disposable.
And how many?
That's the hot thing.
How many different uses do you have for this technology?
Well, it's a Bovie. It's a Bovie with this J-plasma where you have you hook up the helium tank to it, and it's going across the radio frequency and shooting out this J-plasma. It's the fourth state of matter. And what it's doing is contracting the fibroseptal network. That's what it's doing. It's a very interesting thing. So you guys want to tip J-plasma Renuvion. It's the old Bovie company.
That's great. I've used the technology before when it was called J-plasma, and we played around with it. Now, is there any risk of hyperpigmentation when you use your J-plasma or your Renuvion?
Well, here's the beauty of the J-plasma. Okay, the beauty of it is that it will go from 98.6 to I believe 186 degrees and back down. Okay, and that's what you need to contract this, and back down in 0.04 seconds. Okay, areas that have been treated and the capacity is higher, treated, then it's going to skip those areas and go to the untreated area. So if you say, what's the fourth state of matter? Fluorescent light and lightning. That's the fourth state of matter. Okay. So it's actually a beam going out and jumping all over, but just going to that area. And why it's safer than these other things, the body tight and body face, all this kind of stuff, is because of the fact it gives instant on, instant off. That's how it's safe. And in that instant on is what's the effect. And then protecting the skin from burns and things, it is the instant on, instant off, and how quickly it's doing it. But it's doing what it needs to do to give you that contraction.
Right. Now the other thing I've seen you doing on your Instagram, because you're always there with little video clips, is using Sculptra on the Brazilian butt lifts. Now, are you using just straight out of the syringe Sculptra, or are you modifying it in any way?
Yeah, well, so here's the thing, and here's what I tell patients, and with my experience with it and using a lot. You guys have seen me. I'm 400 bottles of this stuff. You know, this stuff is ridiculous as far as the expense. So who can afford that? You're right. You got it. These celebrities and so forth and everything, these high net worth individuals and all of that. Okay. So, but you get regular people on it too. But anyway, so I tell them I prefer number 1, fat, number 2, fat plus Sculptra, number 3, Sculptra. I try to talk patients out of using the Sculptra. I try to talk them out. When you see people just injecting one little, no. You got to use the volume to get the result. If you had that patient who wants that big Brazilian butt lift and all, yeah, it's not going to do it. They're going to come back and say, I wish it was more. But then you get those who go ahead and have it, but come back, I want more. Do it again. Okay. So, you take one bottle and you dilute it for between 8 to 13 cc's. I just dilute it to 8 cc's. But it's expensive. Do I feel that works? Well, you know, you got the money, whatever, fine. Again, I try to talk everybody out of it. So don't do it. Don't use it.
Well, David, I think we could have written an autobiography with everything we've covered today. Is there anything else? Is there anything else that we haven't mentioned that's noteworthy?
Well, the thing is, I just hope that I haven't talked too much. I hope that I haven't, overdid it with you. I just wanted to, just give you, this is really nice. It's really nice to sit down and talk about this whole huge thing. It's just nice. This is nice.
Well, you're the guy, man. You started the whole thing. If you had listened to somebody else, you might be a research chemist working in the basement of Monsanto right now, making $5 a week.
Right. So listen. You got to listen. You have to listen to everybody. You got to listen. Take in what you can, cast off what you don't need, but you have to listen. That's it. That's why I'm here. I listen to the patients. I listened to them. ACOG wasn't listening. I listened.
That's great.
I listened.
Hey, if anybody,
and I love you guys.
If anybody wants to reach out and make contact with you, what's the best way?
The best way of what they can do now. All right. People want to reach out. They can reach out to, I shouldn't say, oh my God, here we go. I should say info@drmatlock.com, but, personally it's Dr. Matlock at drmatlock.com.
There you go, man. Well, thanks a lot. Stay safe and keep on doing what you've been doing.
All right, my man. I greatly appreciate it. You guys be safe.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Share this podcast and this website and this blog with the people in your life who you feel would benefit from this information.